this session, we are going to discuss about what is branding. Now let's look at the learning outcome, that what we will learn. What does a brand represent, and what is branding and brand positioning is all about, and what are the major branding decisions and its conclusion we'll be discussing in this session. So when you look at this picture, what you infer actually? See, this is all, we call it as a generic product, right? So this has to be named. When you think about biscuit, immediately my mind think about Britannia. Okay, like that, when I think about this orange slice, I think about Minute Maid. So like that, I have to, now marketers are trying to, brand the generic products, and which really helps the marketer to reach out the consumers to the greater extent. So for example, suppose if you ask me, if I ask my student to do a photostat, he may not understand. If I ask him to do a Xerox for me, he will do the photostat for me. Do you understand this? That's the way the name Xerox has been established in the society across the globe. So that's about it. Next one is, I can quote example like, this general commodity called Vanaspati. If you go to a shop and ask Vanaspati, the people will not remember that. So you have to ask them Dalda. Dalda is a brand name. So when you say Dalda only, the shopkeeper will give you Vanaspati. That's the way Dalda has been branded. So we can conclude that yesterday's product become today's branded commodity, or clear about it. For example, yesterday, if you look at the water, now people are asking, give me Kinley, give me Bisleri water, like that. So it has been branded like that. And some of the, branded product is again, getting rebranded. For example, we can talk about the, lion dates. Okay. So this lion dates product, commodity has been, rebranded as lion dates. And if you look at the product like turmeric powder, now people are asking for Shakti turmeric powder and Achi turmeric powder, like that. It is getting, branded. Let's move further. So, brand is not just a product. Brand is more than a product. For example, when you look at a product should extend some kind of scope. And a product can be remembered by the consumers through its attributes. For example, if you think about the Intel brand, immediately what happened? If you think about a laptop and you look for a brand, I mean the processor should be from Intel brand. So you will go confidently buy that particular product, because one of the processing attribute has been very much appreciated by you, since Intel is the great manufacturer of processor. And also, for example, fair and handsome, the uses, you think about the uses. And if if you think about the uses, Fair and Lovely is a great product, and you thinking about the fairness, you go for that particular product. And normally, my grandmother used to buy bulbs. Still, she pronounced the name called Philips bulbs. So that is the quality and value Philips is delivering towards those consumers, and also certain functional benefits I should look for. For example, I drive a Maruti car because of the mileage function. Do you understand? For per liter it gives more mileage, so that's why I go for that particular brand called Maruti. So brand is not just a product, it is more than that. So a brand should have an organizational association, a brand should have a personality. For example, I used to wear rough and tough jeans because maybe my personality is a little on ruggedness, so I go for rough and tough jeans and symbol. When you look at the Mercedes logo or a BMW logo, immediately you think about that particular brand. Next one is the brand and customer relationship. Yes, I have a longer association with Reliance product, or I have a longer association with products like Apple. So a brand customer relationship. Those who really use Apple product never go for other brands. They always go for that particular company product. I mean Apple brand. And self-expressive benefits, because when I wear Van Ocean shirt, that gives me an elegant appearance, so I go for it. And I used to have a Parker pen, so so that gives me an image, so that gives me a self-expressive benefits. When I drive a Mercedes Benz, then that gives me a self-expressive benefits. And also, of course, the great brand called Apple, I just hold Apple phone, that gives me a great pride in holding that particular phone. And also there is an emotional connect with the brand, so there are a lot of emotional benefits associated with that particular brand. For example, let's talk about life insurance product. When you talk about LIC, there is an emotional connectivity among the consumers with LIC products. And user imagery, like when you think about the brand, you think something which really give you excitement, again we can talk about having a mobile phone like Apple phones, and also the country of origin. So when you think about the country of origin, I used to prefer to buy Sony product because since it is made in Japan, so the country of origin matters for me. And also when I buy a car, it should be a German made, so I go for a BMW or Mercedes car. So that's why we say brand is not just a product, it is more than that. Okay. And brand is not just a logo nor identity, and it is more than that. We should understand from my earlier discussion. And then what is branding? So branding is about the marketing practice of creating a name or symbol or a design that identifies and differentiate a product from other products, right? So when I hold an Apple phone, it gives me a pride, and it really helps me to differentiate my personality with that of the others. So that is about branding. And a definition given by J. Beer: branding is the art of aligning what you want people to think about your company with what people actually do think about your company. So what does a brand actually represent? So a company's promise to deliver a specific set of features, benefits, and services, and of course experiences consistently to buyers. So when you talk about features of your product, like when I buy a laptop, I look for higher resolution, I look for processing speed, and I also look for better after sales services, and also I look for greatness. I look for the experience of using this mobile phone. So brand should rather be understood as a set of perceptions a consumer has about the products of a particular firm. Therefore, all branding decisions focus on consumers. moving further. So branding, you know, is a combination of tangible and intangible attributes symbolized in a trademark, which, if properly managed, creates influence and generates value. Brands are a means of differentiating a company products and services from those of its competitors. There is plenty of evidence to prove that customers will pay a substantial price premium, as in the case of Apple phone, we buy on premium price for a good brand, and of course we remain loyal to that particular brand. So it is important, therefore, to understand what brands are and why they are important. So let's have a discussion about branding versus marketing. So marketing may contribute to your brand, but the brand is bigger than any particular marketing effort. So the brand is what remains after the marketing has swept through the room. It's what sticks in your mind associated with your product, service, or organizations. Whether or not that particular moment you bought or did not buy, the brand is ultimately what determines if you will become a loyal customer or not. The marketing may convince you to buy a particular Toyota, and maybe it's the first foreign car you ever owned. But it is the brand that will determine if you will only buy Toyotas for the rest of your life. So let's look at the branding versus marketing. Is branding a cost center? So on the surface, yes, but the return is loyalty. The return is salespeople whose jobs are easier and more effective. Employees. So the next question to our mind is that, is branding a cost center? On the surface, yes, but the return is loyalty. The return is salespeople whose jobs are easier and maybe more effective. Employees who stay longer and work harder. Customers who become ambassadors and advocates for the organization. I think, I can quote example on products like Horlicks or Sensodyne toothpaste, or products from Procter and Gamble and Hindustan Unilevers, and also companies like Mercedes, BMW, Apple phone. In all these companies, I think these employees who are working for the organization for stay with the company for long years, and also the customer who are using that company's product become a brand ambassador, and also they give references. I mean, they advocate that particular company, advocate the company's product or services for the other customers to buy that particular product and services. Clear? That's why branding is not a cost center, it is more than that. So let's take an example of Coca-Cola. So when you look at the product called Coca-Cola, carbonated drink, cola drink, as a brand, the consumers will try to, in terms of physics, soft drink, it is sweet and it is refreshing. So these are the attributes that get into the minds of the consumers. And in terms of personality, the consumers think about happiness, a moment of joy and sharing, innovative, and a kind of communication like having a leadership quality. All that the consumers who consume Coca-Cola will get, reflected on their personality. When you talk about culture, happiness, sharing, social causes are one of the associative aspect in terms of this cultural dimension as far as the Coca-Cola is concerned. And we talk about self-image. It is so much, Coca-Cola is empathetic, social, and punchy. And also, when you consume Coca-Cola, you feel the reflection is youthful and it's kind of family drink. And in terms of a relationship, it is having a proximity connection and interactivity, brand equity. There is a value in that particular brand. And I can quote one more example by taking another brand called Pepsi in the soft drinks industry. When you talk about personality, it's something to do with young, innovative, and fun-loving people go for Pepsi product, and the culture for Pepsi is young, vibrant, and dynamic people always trying to consume Pepsi, and the self-image is about cool, smart, upbeat, and when you talk about the reflection, youthful and reliable, and in case of relationship, emotionally attached, next generation drink, that's where the consumers prefer to go for Pepsi. And that's about the associative, attributes with Pepsi. And how to create a brand name. Whenever you create a brand name, a brand name should be highly differentiated, and it should be meaningful, it should have a longevity, and it should be imagery. When I think about phone, my mind should capture the product called Apple. When I think about that, immediately my mind get into that product image. And when you talk about the emotional connectivity should be there, as I was mentioning about LIC products, and also it should be musical. When you think about the advertisement called Titan, immediately you can see that music, getting that tune in your mind. Am I right? So the trademarkable, when you talk about, when you look at the Pepsi logo, immediately you recollect that it is a Pepsi brand. So similarly with the Mercedes, similarly with the Honda, similarly with the Toyota brands, all that. Next one is, let us give a small case leaflet information about Intel Pentium processor. Things that are fundamental and important to us as humans and to the planet. It recalls words like uranium and plutonium and suggests that it's what is inside your computer that counts. That's the way they are trying to position in the minds of the consumers. And next one is the impossible food. When you tell someone, I'm going to make a great tasting hamburger, but out of plant proteins, the reaction will be that's impossible. So next one is the drink, Sprite. The word means elf, fairy, and or goblin, and comes from Latin spiritus word. For spirit, the drink was to be marketed as something refreshing, lively, and energetic, and says stack, and the name fit, especially when paired with bright green and yellow. So, with this, how these attributes are getting positioned in the minds of the consumer through a branding exercise, we can really appreciate that. Next one is, let's talk about brand positioning. Brand positioning is defined as the conceptual place you want to own in the target consumer's mind. The benefits you want them to think of when they think of your brand. So, an effective brand positioning strategy will maximize customer relevancy and competitive distinctiveness in maximizing the brand value. I was quoting the example of a brand like Dalda or Xerox. It's just a brand name, but people use the word for photostating. Instead of using photostating, they use can you do Xerox for me? That's the power of brand positioning. And when I talk about brand positioning, suppose I want to buy an auto flow, immediately I think about the ITC brand called Ashirwad. You understand this? When I want to buy some kind of chili powder or any kind of masala powder, immediately my mind think about Achi or Shakti brand. When I think about thought of buying dates, immediately my mind get associated with a brand name called Lion. That's why we call it as Lion dates. Okay, none of them are nowadays in in our part of our region that they are saying, can I have Lion dates like that, rather asking simply dates. So moving further, I think let's talk about the major branding decisions in detail. And first, to start with, any decisions about a brand is about we need to really clearly identify the attributes associated with that particular product and that respective brand, and what are the respective benefits, and what are the beliefs and values we are trying to communicate towards the customer. We need to analyze that, and we need to make sure we use the appropriate components in reaching out the customer's mind through the process of brand positioning. That's why when I think about buying of watch, immediately my mind says that why can't I go for a Titan brand of watches? Clear? And similarly, when you talk about the brand, while you make a decision on brand name selection, and make sure it's literally catchy, and you don't get into any kind of misleading information, and a brand should be legally protected, and a brand should be secure. All these essential qualities has to be packed whenever we go for a brand name selection. And when you talk about brand sponsorship, we have different categories like manufacturers brand, private brands, licensing, and co-branding, all that. When you talk about the private brand, when you go and buy, national brands, even Reliance Fresh has coming out with a private, the retail brand called, Reliance Select. Okay, so that becomes a private brand associated with the Reliance Fresh. And also, when you look at these companies like KFC or McDonald's, they are giving licensing for in other countries to operate by using their brand name. And also, when you talk about co-branding, there are a lot. This Horlicks product is a great example where they are trying to extend Horlicks 1, 2, 3, Horlicks, Mother Horlicks, and Horlicks for a diabetic patient, Horlicks rich in proteins. All that it's an extension of the umbrella brand called Horlicks. And when you talk about the brand development, you have a lot of line extensions. I think, when you talk about the brand called, Amurtanjan, we have roll-on Amurtanjan paint bomb is there, Amurtanjan head bomb is there. So many class of, product line extension is happening with that particular brand. I think we can witness with a lot of Procter and Gamble brands and Hindustan Unilever's brands, where we have lot of line extension has been done with many brands, and also the brand extensions also been done. I was quoting about this Horlicks as an example, and also we have multi brands, and also they are trying to develop new brands in brand development. And there are a lot of exercise has to be done by understanding keenly on the customer's value proposition, what actually the customer value. Accordingly, they are trying to do the brand development exercise. So let's go in detail about what is brand positioning. Marketers can position a brand on product attributes. Marketing for a car brand may focus on attributes such as large engines, mileage, or fancy colors, or sportive designs, or aerodynamic designs, all that. And also, when you look at a brand can better position on the basis of desirable benefits. For example, the Gar brand could go beyond the technical support, product attributes, and promoting the resulting benefits for the customer, quick transportation, lifestyle, and so further. For example, I can quote an example of Mercedes-Benz, which is very much associated with the lifestyle of the consumers, and also brands like Rolls-Royce, and also we can talk about Apple mobile phone, all that. And when you look at the successful brands which really engage customers on a deep burst level and also at the emotional level, examples we can quote like brands such as Mini and Aston Martin, John Miller. These brands rely on less on products, and they work on tangible attributes like how the Mercedes and BMW is working on the external outlook on the tangible attributes, and also more on creating passion. I think the great example is Harley Davidson, and surprise and excitement, and a lot of you know, uh, you know, uh, air freight companies are giving a lot of surprises and excitements, which is really surrounding the brand. They have become, become a cool brand. I think we can witness brands like Pepsi, Coca-Cola, and many more. So, in case of brand name selection, you know, in case of brand name selection, when talking about branding decisions, the brand name decision may be the most obvious one. The name of the brand is maybe you think of first when imagining a brand. I was mentioning about buying an atta floor. Immediately I think about Ashirwad. It is the base of the brand. When I think about photostatic, immediately I think about Xerox brand. Therefore, the brand name selection belongs to the most important branding decision. However, it is also quite a difficult task. We have to start with a careful review of the product and its benefits, the target market, and proposed marketing strategies. Having that in mind, we have to find a brand name matching these things. Naming a brand is part science, part art, and certainly a measure of instinct. Choosing a brand name is not enough. It also need to be protected. So let's talk about the major branding decisions. When you talk about the major branding decisions, uh, when think about the brand sponsorship, branding decisions go beyond decisions upon brand positioning and brand name. The third of our four branding decision is the brand sponsorship. The manufacturer has four brand sponsorships options. The product may be launched as a manufacturer brand. This is also called a national brand. Examples include Kellogg's selling its output under the own brand name Kellogg's Frosty Seed, for instance, or Sony Bravia HDTV. The manufacturer could also sell to resellers who give the product a private brand. Recent tougher economic times have created a real store brand boom. As consumers become more price conscious, they also become less brand conscious and are willing to choose private brands instead of established and often more expensive manufacturers brand. Also, manufacturer can choose licensed brands instead of spending millions to create own brand names. Some companies license names or symbol previously created by other manufacturer. For example, sellers of children products often attach character names to clothing, toys, and so on, like we can witness through Disney products. These licensed characters name include, I was mentioning about Disney, Star Wars, Hello Kitty, and in Indian context, we can talk about many more examples from many episode serials. We are trying to brand it. Finally, two companies can join forces and co-brand a product. Co-branding is the practice of using the established brand names of two different companies on the same product. This can offer many advantages, such as the fact that the combined brands create broader consumer appeal and larger brand equity. For instance, Nestle uses co-branding for its Nespresso coffee machines, which carry the brand names of well-known kitchen equipments manufacturer, and of course Intel and other computer manufacturer are doing a lot of co-branding exercise. And when you talk about the other final decision about the brand development, branding decisions finally include brand development. For developing brands, a company has four choices: line extension, brand extension, and multi-brand or new brands. We talk about line extension is nothing but existing and existing. There are two variables we have taken here: brand name and product category. And if you look at the first quadrant, we can talk about the line extensions. It refers to extending an existing brand name to new forms, size, colors, ingredients, or flavors of an existing product category. Brand extension, if you have a brand name, product category, you have an existing and new. So also assumes an existing brand but combines it with the new product category. Thus, an existing brand name is extended to your new product category. This gives the new product instant recognition and faster acceptance, and can save substantial advertising cost for establishing a new brand. And the next quadrant, when you look at this, multi-brand, you have a case of new and existing, new brand name and existing product category. And so when you look at this, multi-brands means marketing many different brands in a given product category. For example, Procter & Gamble and Unilever are the best examples for this. In the USA, Procter & Gamble sells 6 brands of laundry detergent, 5 brands of shampoo, and 4 brands of dishwashing detergent. Okay. And the last quadrant, when you look at that, the brand name and product category, the new brands. When you look at the new brands are needed when the power of existing brand names is warning. Also, a new brand name is appropriate when company enters a new product category for which none of its current brand names are appropriate. To conclude on the topic on branding, as you might have recognized, these 4 branding decisions are interrelated in order to build strong brands. Brand positioning, brand name, brand sponsorship, and brand development have to be aligned with each other. So it is a very, very important exercise as far as branding is concerned. Hope all of you understand the concept of what is a brand and what is brand positioning and the major decisions involved in branding. Thank you so much.